What's up, guys? It's John at cheatsheetpros.com, and I had a request on YouTube. Someone asked me to make a video on how to use the prize and props cheat sheet to find prize picks or player props or whatnot. So I'm going to run through and kind of show you a few that I like today. Today is March 29th, 2021, and is it Monday or Tuesday? It's Monday. And so I'm going to take a look at the slate tonight, show you what I look like. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a quick way to reach out and grab all of the prize pick lines and player names, so I manually have to type these in daily, and it sucks. But I do it for you guys, so use it and make some money. So over here, this is the prize picks website, and you can see the first three players. I don't have enough room to get the fourth row on. And you can pick players by fantasy score. You can do individual stats. You can do points, assists, rebounds, and then over here in the corner that you can't see is three-pointers made. So usually what I do is I'll read some type of analysis for the slate, get an idea of who's in, who's out, who's questionable, what games have a high total, and then I'll just kind of start going through the list. And so to put them in this sheet, it's the last names. So we got Sabonis. We're going to take a look here. So his number is 47 for fantasy points. And this is a game logger, so I can see what he has been scoring over recent games. And it's the earliest game at the top, and it works its way down and pulls the last 14 games. And then this is the last 5-game average of stats here across the top. So quickly I could look at this and say, okay, he's 47. He's been averaging 39.8. So typically I would lean under, and I'd want to look and say, okay, that's under 47, under, but really close, under, over, and you get kind of an idea of where you want to be at. And then over here, this is going to show the DVP over the last 10 games. So they're playing Washington tonight, who ranks 27th, which you can see down here in total prize points allowed. So they give up a ton of points. And then you can see what it is to the individual position, the total, and then how it ranks for the position. So if you're looking at center, and it says 43.8 prize points allowed over the last 10 games, that doesn't really tell you anything. So you can look here and say, okay, 26th, that means they're giving up a ton of points to the center. So number one is really hard, and if it's top 10, it turns red. If it's bottom 10, it turns green, so you can kind of see where we want to target. And then over here, I got your points, rebounds, and assists. I love doing those player props on my sports book. And then you can look at individual points, rebounds, or assists. So here we see they're giving up a ton of rebounds to power forwards and centers, so big men. So maybe if Sabonis had an individual rebound prop, you would look at that and then look at his rebounds up here and see, what that looks like. Now let's go ahead and take a look at that. So we're going to go to single stat. We're going to go to rebounds. So Sabonis is at 11. And this is going to drive me nuts. Let me open that up and turn that off. So he's at 11, and you can see they're giving up a ton of rebounds, which 11.5 to the center over the last 10 games. And then just look back over his last, 6, 7 games. So he's over it, tied it, under, tied, over, tied. So I think 11 is a good line for Sabonis rebounds. I don't love it one way or another, but that's just kind of how I start to look at everything. And then you can go over here and let's look at a couple real quick. So we got Westbrook. And if you're typing in name, you can't find them. If you click in here, there's this drop down arrow, and you can see them all the last names. We're growing. I think we have about 125 players now. I had 5 to 10 a week. But that'll just tell you if they're in there or not. So we're looking at Westbrook. So his fantasy number here is 53 prize points. And so I'm just going to look down here and say, okay, under, over, over. So he had a streak of overs, and he was over here and almost here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of his last 8 games, he went over that number. So now I want to look at the matchup. So he's playing Indy, who's kind of middle of the road in prize points. And so I'm going to look at the guards and see how they do. And so shooting guards, 24th. Point guards, 12th. Not too bad. Not good, not great. Kind of middle of the road. So that's one I would lean on, that I would like Westbrook over. And you just kind of run down through here and find the games you like, look at the players. It is a little bit exhausting to do. I don't have time to look at it every day, but I have looked at some players already that I do want to take a look at, and I'll kind of show you. So Towns is one of them. So let's put Towns in here. Let me scroll down and find him. Towns. Okay, there he is. So here's Towns. His number is 49. He's one when I entered all these, he kind of jumped out at me. So you can see he's been over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of the last 7 games, he's been over 49. And he's going up against Brooklyn, who's given up a ton of rebounds to the center position. Not a ton of points, but giving up a ton of rebounds. And they're not real good. They're bottom 10 against centers. So that's one number that I do like tonight. And then let's go ahead and take a look at Anthony Edwards. He's right here. So his number is 31. So we'd go in here and type in Edwards, and it's going to pop up. And you can look at the team, make sure you got the right one in case there's a duplicate last name. Well, Edwards is playing Brooklyn, and we all know Brooklyn usually gives up a ton of points, even though they haven't recently. But his number is 31, which I can see right here for fantasy points. So I'm going to look at that. Now, right off the bat, his last 5-game average I can see is 31.7, so he's really close to that. And so we can look at this, and he's got 1, 2, let's say 3 overs, 2 unders, and a tie. So he's kind of middle of the road, it's 50-50 going over under. But he did have a streak here where he went over, look at how many games in a row he was over that 31. Now, the games that he missed, I like to highlight these, and I'll take a look at them. So these 2 he missed, I want to see what happened. So he still played over 30 minutes, so that's good. He didn't have a lot of production against kind of so-so teams. Well, it looks like here he just shot bad. He still took 17 field goal attempts, but he was only 4 of 17 and 2 of 7 from 3. So he's a shooter, so he needs points to build up his raw score. And then here, same thing, 2 of 7 from 3-point land, and then 6 of 16. So even though he's had a few games under, I like this over just because it's going up against Brooklyn. This game's probably got a monster total. I don't have it in front of me. But I love the field goal attempts here. 22, 17, 23, 16, 18. Look at that, 31 field goal attempts. That is just insane. And he's got 2 games here of double-digit field goal attempts. So he's a shooter. If they're falling, 31's pretty easy to get to, so that's one that I like. And you can even coordinate those together. And then let's look at Julius Randle. See, he should be up here. Randle, where did you go? Okay, he's over here. He's hiding. So 42 is his number. So when we're looking at that, we come down here, and he was inactive that game, and he didn't get it done versus Washington. But then look, he had a string of 6 games here where he was well over 42. 44, 46, 56, 47, 60, 61. So he missed it 1 game, and then he was inactive. So if you think he's going to be healthy, ready to go, 42 is a pretty low number for him. You can see he's averaging about 44.9 in the games that he has played. And then if you're looking at the DVP here, power forwards, it looks tough, which that's basically, I'm sure it's a lot of Jimmy Butler, Miami defense. A lot of players change, so you got to be careful of the DVP. But if it's a player that's hitting it, 5 out of 6, 5 out of 7 times, it's one you want to look at it probably taking an over. RJ Barrett is another one. And so RJ Barrett is here. This is one that I really like. So RJ Barrett at 32, look at his numbers, 37, 49, 38, 33, under, 33, 41. I mean, so he's been under, 1 time? So this 1 game, and he has a streak of overs. So I really like that one. I'm actually going to make a mark on that one. That's going to be one of the ones that I do play. And then Barrett, look, he's scoring a ton of points. He's getting a ton of rebounds, assists. He's chipping in some steals. Even had a couple blocks this game. Blocks and steals are huge in price points. And then you can look at the DVP and, take that with a grain of salt. Another one is John Wall. So John Wall is an assist monster, and they didn't have his assist up earlier. That's the one I've had in almost all my plays. I want to see if they added it real quick. Sometimes they'll add players, they change, these lines move a lot. And that's kind of disappointing. They don't have the John Wall assist. It has been 7.5, And so I've pretty much been writing it these 4 games, and I lost one, but these have been like such easy hits. So that's one. As soon as I see Houston playing, Oladipo gone, I look at Wall assist over. So they didn't put it on here tonight. So the fantasy points aren't too bad. He's at 39, and he kind of hovers around that number. I don't love it. 39, 45, 34, 53, 49. So I'd say that one's kind of a 50-50. Don't love it, don't hate it. But if they had the assist prop, that's the one that I was really eyeballing to see if they had it, but they do not. So let's flip down here and take a look at another player. So Fox, his number is 43. So we come over here, we're going to type in FOX. So 43, we see that he's got 4 games over it. His last 2 have been over 55 points, so he's constantly shooting over that. So he's another one that I do like. I like riding the hot streaks, the players that are hot right now. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. We come down here, we look at him. I guess you can't see that. So Mitchell's 43. So let me slide him out of the way. So Mitchell at 43, he's got a streak of he's 6-0 the last 6 games going over 43. So that's a decent number to look at for him. He had a couple under against Boston, Golden State, and you can look over here and see, did they win the game? Did they lose the game? How many minutes did he play? If he played the same amount of minutes, look over here at his field goal attempts and see, how did he shoot? Was he shooting poorly? Was he shooting good? Did he not get the blocks and steals that he normally does? So you can kind of look at it and get an idea of how they're doing for a particular game. And then the other one that jumped out at me for fantasy points was Wiggins. Now, Steph, I believe last time I looked, he was a game time decision. So his number is only 29. So if Steph is ruled out, this number is surely to go up. If he plays, it's probably going to stay right here. So if you get word that Steph's ruled out, jump on Prize Picks and hit this over because it's probably going to be a lock. But that's what I'll do a lot of times is I'll make notes of the players that I do like or don't like and how it's going to change if someone's questionable, ruled out. And if I see on Twitter that he's doubtful or trending down or trending up, I can usually lock a play in, not for a ton of money, but lock something in to try to get a little bit of an edge. So for Wiggins at 29, I mean, he's coming off a 45.9, 41, and then he had an under game, and then 36, 65. So 4 of the last 5 games he's been over. So if Steph does not play, I definitely like him. And I don't mind even putting him in there if you're doing a flex and you need one more play, throw him in there, kind of see what happens, roll the dice. Because even the other games, 27.5, he was really close to hitting that number. This game, he wasn't even close, so I'm trying to look to see what happened. Looks like he just didn't shoot quite as good. He has 6 buckets and then 10, 10, 14, so didn't do as well there. Didn't have any block steals and only 1 assist and 2 rebounds, so he didn't get a lot of stats. But again, that's against Philadelphia. They don't give up a lot of that information or a lot of those stats. As far as everybody else here, there's no one else that really jumps out at me. But on the 3-point numbers, Luka was one that I really liked. And I think that was the first day that they released it. So I want to look at a couple 3-point made. So Luka's still there at 3 of them. And let's look at him real quick. I didn't have him wrote down, but he was someone that I had when this first came out. So what I like about that, you can see he hasn't played the last 2 games, but his 3-point attempts, 9, 9, 13, 11, 11, and 10, and his number is over under 3. Now, it should probably be 3.5 or 4 in my opinion. So 3 I like because 3 is a push. It doesn't hurt you. Now, he only had 2 here, but 8, 4, 6, 4, 3. I mean, he's getting over that the majority of the time. So that's kind of a sneaky one to play if he's healthy. You really never know with some of these guys. Fox, I think it was Donovan Mitchell. So Donovan Mitchell's at 3, so that was one that jumped out at me. And you can see he's 5 of 7, 5 of 7, 5 of 8, 5 of 8. So he has 4 games where he's annihilated the 3. He's almost doubled that. So Donovan over 3 is one that I like. Um, you can see here, though, he was 0 for 9 against Toronto. So, I mean, it is quite possible he misses. But if I look down all of these, I want to see, like, how many times does he get over 3? So we got over, 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 under, over, push, over. So the majority of the time, he's going over 3, and he's taking a pretty decent amount of attempts. And what I really like is seeing this 63, 71%. I mean, he's shooting red hot right now. So he's another one that I really like for tonight. As far as assists, I ran through those. And DeJounte, where did you go? Doo-doo-doo. All right, so here his number is 5 assists. And that was one that jumped out at me. And now there's a lot of Murrays. So if it's got a first name, I know this one's Murray D for DeJounte. Look at the team, verify it is him. And so we're looking at 5 assists. So I want to look at his last numbers here. So 8, 7, 5, 4 over the last 3 games. So he's got over, push, and 1 under. So he's doing well recently. He's averaging 6 a game over the last 5, so that's good. And then you see here, Sacramento to the point guard, they give up a ton of prize points. And then specifically assists. They're giving up almost 7 assists per game, and he's put up 15 in the last 2 games. So I like going over 5 there, and I like 5 as a push. That's not bad. And then, what was the other one? Oh, yeah, I think the other ones were all sports betting picks. So those are the ones that I like. And then another tip and trick kind of thing that I wanted to show you. Let me see if it's on here. So we can coordinate players, and one of the things I found out, they took it off today, it wasn't on here, but if you find correlated players. Now, one I did the other night that I hammered just because I wanted to see if it would work or not was going Fox, Heald, and then they had Rakan Holmes in there. So they don't, but let's just say Halliburton. So if you can put all 3 of them, I like Holmes because he's the big guy, and then we have a couple of shooters. And let me show you what it looks like on the correlation. So those are the individual plays I like. Now I want to show you some of the fun correlating things. So Fox, Heald, Holmes. Now what you can do here, now see what I'm wanting to show you is you have 3 players. So a flex, 3 of them pays 2.25x, and then 2 players pays 1.25x. Now you want to find a coordination of 3 players where you see 2 of them go over all the flipping time. So you're almost guaranteed to get at least this 1.25, and then I'd say a fourth of the time, if you can, get the 3 out of 3, that's fine. But this is almost a free 25% return on your money. And so let me show you what I am referring to. All right, so the other night I was looking at Fox, Heald, and Holmes, and I think their numbers it was somewhere around 40, 30, 35, I think is what it was. And when I was looking at this, so these are the prize picks side by side of these 3 players, player A, player B, player C. So we're going to use the number of, it was 40, 42, somewhere around there. Might have been 45. And then Heald was 30, 35. And then Holmes, I think, was a little higher. He might have been 35 to 37. But I started looking at this. Now this is when they played. I got 2 of the 3 over here, so I got a 25% return on my money. And then I started looking at some of these games, and there were some here where they were almost all going over. But the majority of the time, at least 2 of the 3 were going over. So here we got 2 of the 3. This one would have been 3 of 3. This is 2 of 3. This would have been 3 of 3. This one you would have missed. This one we'd have got 2 of 3 over. This one we'd have got, I think this one only would have been 1. It would have just missed. And then here we've got all 3 over, here all 3 over, here all 3 over, and then this one 2 of 3 over. So anytime you have something like that, you can put all 3 of these on the same card and then put your favorite other one, because you have to have at least 1 player from another game. So that gives you a 4-man card. And like, for example, if wall assist over 7.5 was 1, that's a perfect one you can throw in there. And if you hit the wall assist, you're getting at least 2 of these 3 over. You're going to hit 3 or 4. It's going to return you some money. Occasionally, you might get 1 of the 3 or miss your assist one. But then some of the times you're going to hit all 3 overs. and go from there. So I like to delete out player C and look at 2 side by side. Now, another thing that you can do, if you can't find 3 players that coordinate really well, here, let me show you another 3-player one real quick. Let's go Sabonis, Brogdon, and LeVert. And let me see what their numbers are real quick. Okay, so Sabonis is 47, Brogdon is 36, LeVert's 34. So 47, 36, 34. So here, now this is an example of 3 that are a little bit tougher. So we have over, under, under. And then under, oh, this is getting confusing, under, 1 over. And then, so what was he, 47? So that's an under, under, under. So see, this one doesn't correlate as well because you have 2 of the 3 under the majority of the time. But if you look down through these and you see, hey, two of the 3 are going under the majority of the time, put them all 3 on the same card and take 3 unders. You know, Prize Picks could have set the line so high that it's hard for them to reach. What I like doing is coordinating 2 players, and a couple that I want to show you. So a couple of the pairs, you've got RJ Barrett and Julius Randle. Then you've got Harden and Kyrie Irving, Towns and Edwards, and then Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram. Those are the ones that jumped out at me tonight. So let's look at Barrett and Randle. So Barrett is, I believe he was 32. That was one we just went over that we really liked. Okay, so RJ Barrett's 32. And then you got Randle over here that's 42. So 32 and 42 are the numbers we're looking at in these 2 columns, and we're going to see how many are over. So one didn't play, and so we got 47, 32. One of them got over. And what I'm looking for here is I want to see when they're both in the game, does at least one of them go over? If you have 2 players and you know with a pretty high certainty that one of them is going to go over, then you can start to have fun with that card. And there's always the possibility that they both go over. So if I can find a correlated set of 2 players where one of them is going over at least 80 to 90% of the time, so 8 or 9 times in the last 10 games, and 2 or 3 times they both go over, then that's one that I want to look at, and we'll show you why. So we were at 32 and 42. All right, so one of them didn't play this game. So we got 1 over here and 1 under. Almost got him over at, or nope, sorry, this was the other way. So 1 over, and then see 32, 42. So got both over here, that's good. 32, 42, got both over here, that's good. 32, 42. He didn't get over, but he got over. 32, 42, they both got over. 32, 42, both over, both over. So you can see here there's a high correlation with Randle and RJ Barrett of both of them going over. So that's something that jumps out at me. And you can see here, you know, we had one both under, but when he had a bad game, he had a big game. They were both under there, and then both over, both over. So I actually like that one. I'm going to make a note there. Now let's look at another one. Harden and Kyrie, they're difficult because their numbers are so large in Prize Picks. And you can see they haven't played. I think their numbers here. So Harden is over under 57. Irving is 46. So the over 57s when they're both on the court. So under, over, only one on the court. And then over, under, under, over. And so you can see here when Harden has a big game, Kyrie does not. And then here, Harden had we'll say a crappy game for Harden, but it's great for an average player. Kyrie had a big game. And then Harden had a good game. Kyrie had a not so great game. Harden went nuclear here at 75.3 prize points. And then Irving still slid over his 46. So that's your key there when they can both get over. But you can see there's a correlation here where one of them is going to get over. So I like that, but I don't see both of them getting over enough times to really make it work for what I want to do with my next step. So I'm going to move on. So I don't mind using him because Brooklyn's fun to watch and they're 2 fun guys to follow because they're always involved. So Karl Anthony Towns is 49 and Edwards is 31. So 49 and 31 are what we're looking for. So here they're both over. There's one over, one under. Oh, what was he? 49. So under, and then he got over. So one got over, one got over, one got over. Both went under, both over. And let's see, 31, both over, one over, both over. So you can see, let's see, 1, 2, 3. 3 of these last, what is that, 9, 10 games, they both got over. So I like that. That's good. That gives me an opportunity to get both of your guys over. And then the majority, the only one time where they both under, and it was this game right here. And I could dig into it and see why, but I really don't care because all the other games, at least one of them was getting over. So we like the Karl-Anthony Towns and Edwards combo. And the last one I want to show you is Williamson. So we got Zion and Ingram. And you can even do this with individual points. I like doing it with points with these two, but without getting into all that, we're going to stick over here at the price point. So Zion and Ingram. Zion is over under 45 fantasy points on Price Picks and over under 38 for Ingram. So let's see, 45 and 38. So we got one over, both over, one over, one over, both over, both under, one over, both under. So see, not as strong, but you can see out of this last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 out of the last 6 games, they both got over, and that's good. But their numbers are a little high, so I don't like this one as well. So I would rank them as R.J. Barrett, and Julius Randle as my number 1 flip combo. I would do Karl-Anthony Towns and Edwards as my second. And then I actually like the Harden Kyrie Irving as the number 3 over the Zion one. But one of the things you can do is also you can do a different stat if you want. So let's look at single stats. Let's look at points. And let's make sure they're both in here. So here's Ingram. So Zion's 27.5. So we'll say we need 28 points for an over and 24. So 28 and 24. So these are the points column. So 28, we got over, push, under. And then 24, under, over. So you can see there's not a, usually one of them's going over, but you have several games here and here where they both went under. And then down here, they both went under. So that one's a little bit scarier. But when I was looking at it down here, the numbers were a little bit lower. Now they're kind of elevated, so it's a little bit more difficult to do that. So what's good about this is you can pick your favorite player prop. So classic NBA DFS on DraftKings, you have to know every player that's questionable, who's going to play if they're out, where the value plays are going to be, if you're going to eat the chalk, not eat the chalk, fade the chalk. You have to know every team because one team you skip might have a ton of players in there that are going to eat you up. But what I like about doing player props is I can pick one game. Well, I guess 2 games because you got to have 2 in there if you're doing Price Picks. But I can pick 5 players, research the hell out of those 5 players, and that's all I got to watch. I don't need to know who's playing the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock game, and I'm good. Now, what you can do with these flip combos that we were talking about, so let's say we do R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, over, and then we do Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 cards, and I'm going to start it off with R.J. Barrett and Towns, and then R.J. Barrett, Anthony Edwards, and then the third one's going to be Julius Randle, Towns, and the fourth one's going to be Randle, Edwards. So just every possible 2-man combination is going to start. It's going to give you 4 cards, and where you got 2 flip sets. So if you label them A, B, A, B, so you're going to have AA, AB, BA, BB. And that's going to be how you start your 4 cards. Now, the idea behind that is if one of those players is always going over, you're starting off one of those cards 2-0 automatically. Now, where you really get paid is if you can get 2 of those guys over, you have an option of hitting 2 10x cards with the same setup. So you're basically reducing some of your risk. And with the flex cards, some of these, you get a portion of your money back or a small amount so you don't lose the full 4 units. So the idea is 4 cards. I like to do sets of 5, and then you're going to take two-man groups and flip-flop them, and that's how you're going to start it. And then pick your other 3 favorite props that you like. So in this case, I like RJ Barrett over, but I'm putting him in my flip 2, so I can't use him. So if John Wall assist over pops up, that's going to be 1. But like tonight, I'm probably going to do Donovan Mitchell over 3 3-pointers. I might do the over 5 assist for DeJounte Murray. And then I'll probably pick Fox, Wiggins, or Donovan Mitchell. Well, I can't use Donovan if I use him for 3. So either Fox over points or Wiggins over point. I might do Wiggins and just hope Steph gets ruled out. So let's say we do Wiggins over fantasy points, Donovan Mitchell over 3 3-pointers, and DeJounte Murray over 5 assists. Those are our 3 locks. We're going to put those on all 4 of our cards, 1 unit each. And then we're going to do those same 3, one with RJ Barrett and Towns. And then we're going to do those same 3 with RJ Barrett and Anthony Edwards. Same 3 with Julius Randle, Towns. Same 3 with Randle and Edwards. So you have every possible combination of RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Towns, and Edwards going over. Now, if you hit your 3 player props, Donovan, Wiggins, and DeJounte, if you hit those 3, and the majority of the time you're going to get at least one 10x card out of it. But out of RJ Barrett and Randle, if you get a doubler where both of them go over, you can hit 2 10x cards. So that's going to return you 20x, and it's going to cost you 4x to do. Now, if you get burnt up, you're going to lose 4 units, so you might do half units on each card. But I've done it 3 times. One time, my first card I hit a 10x on it, so I returned, I think, 7 units. One day I got burned and just completely whiffed everything. I had a lot of half-pointers that just missed, and then I had a doubler that both went under. And then I had one day where I had a 2-man flip, both go over, and I hit 2 10x cards and returned like 15 or 16 units. I didn't count up the flex, but if you hit one of those, it gives you enough money to go, and it doesn't kill you. Very rarely are you going to lose 4 units when you do 4 cards, because even if you miss, one of your player props that you really like, but you hit your 2 cards and some will return 40% of your money. I think it's 0.4x or 1x, or you get a little bit of a kickback. So even if you get kicked back 1.5 units, 2 units, then it only cost you 2 units. So give it a try. I'm sorry this video was so long, but play with it. I love the new price sheet. It is tedious to go through, but if I've got 30 minutes, I can fly through it pretty quick and narrow down the players that I like. And you'll start finding players like Harden rebounds we rode for a long time. So in our chat, I was always Harden rebounds over 8, over 8.5, over 9, and he was just bing, 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 bing. And then he hit a dead streak where he was under that. But we rode that one for a long time. And if you can find 2 or 3 props you really like, it's pretty good. You can have a lot of fun with it. So I hope this helps whoever was asking about the video. And yeah, good luck, man.